Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. I just want to get into some housekeeping. I know I've been hinting and saying that I am going to be doing a long overdue Girl World catch up with Amberlynn. That's still happening. And I'm also going to be talking about Kendra on TikTok, who fell in love with her psychiatrist, for those of you who are familiar with that story. But with both of those, there is so much to cover, and there's so many things that I want to make sure I cover the way they deserve to be covered. And so those will be happening next month. Consider, especially the Girl World catch up, like it'll be like a birthday gift from myself to you for my birthday, because my birthday's in September. But yeah, I know that's what I said was going to be the next one. It's not, or was going to be this one. It's not. But I do feel like this video is equally as important. We're going to be catching up with Alexandra Rodriguez today, or Learning to be Fearless, as some of you may know her. A lot of stuff with her happened earlier this month and in August, and my dad was visiting, and so I had taken the whole week off of work and I hadn't gotten a chance to talk about it yet, as we're going to be talking about today. So buckle in and grab a snack and get ready. Okay, all right. But before we get into today's video, we need to talk about how you can stay safe browsing online. Because data brokers are out here selling your data without your consent, and they continue to make billions selling it to scammers and even stalkers. And while they're legally required to remove your info if you ask, process is purposefully made confusing and just really difficult. And that's why I'm here to tell you about today's video sponsor, Aura. Aura offers all-in-one digital security. You may already have a digital security tool, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but then leaving the back door wide open. With Aura, you will get alerts if your information is found on the dark web, real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, 24/7 monitoring to help keep your identity secure, a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, and more. And US-based support that is available around the clock if something goes wrong. And if anything does happen, Aura includes a $5 million identity theft protection insurance, and like I said, they have US experts ready for when you need them 24/7. I love Aura for their fraud alerts and credit and banking because admittedly I do a lot of online shopping, and knowing Aura is keeping me protected and all of my information protected 24/7 helps me feel way more secure. I also really love the VPN edition because I get it along with everything else that Aura offers, when usually a VPN is like an added thing, and so I really appreciate that there's no additional cost with that. If you want to give Aura a whirl for yourself, be sure to use the link down below in my description and try it for free for 14 days at aura.com/MeganAnne. That is aura.com/MEGANANNE. And in those 2 weeks, you will discover where your data is being exposed and sold. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable, and neither should you, so thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring today's video, and as always, thank you to you guys for continuing to interact with my content so that brands like Aura want to keep working with me. Okay, now let's get back into the video and my last outfit. Before I get into literally any of this, I just want to issue like a blanket trigger warning here for SA, particularly of the child variety, and so if hearing anything like that is going to be difficult for you today, please click off of this video. Your mental health is worth more to me than views, okay? So I just wanted to put that here. So if you don't know who Alexandra Rodriguez is, you might know her as Learning to be Fearless, as that was her name online for a very long time. I've done a whole history lesson on her, but just the long and short of it is she has been involved in like quite a few scandals pretty recently. Actually, it's only really been in the last like maybe 5 years where like scandals surrounding her really started to pick up for some reason. But she's been accused of lying about her appearance and using filters on her videos and her Instagram stories, which could be said is kind of just the state of social media these days. But I will say her whole brand has been like loving yourself no matter what you look like, body image, all that kind of stuff. So it was very hypocritical for her to be like heavily filtering her photos, videos, all that kind of stuff. She's also had plastic surgeries, which she did not tell her audience about, one of which was a paniculectomy, which was removing the hanging part of her apron belly to make her stomach look flat. Not like a very big thing, to leave out to her audience. She has also been criticized for how all of her vlogging content, which is the majority of her content, is always filled with her selling things, and so is her Instagram. And I think especially on her Instagram, her disclosure of sponsorships and things like that has always been kind of blurry. She also just spews some fat activism, health at every size kind of rhetoric, but that's like the least consequential with her, in my opinion. But yeah, I have a whole history lesson on her where I go into more depth on that. If you want to go watch it, I'll have it linked wherever things are linked. But I used to be a big fan of her. I had watched her since her channel started pretty much. And like for a long time, she was kind of like an internet big sister to me. It's been really, really disappointing to see the shift that has happened, like I said, in like what seems to be the last like 5 or 6 years. The thing that started all of the drama, I guess, if you want to call that feels like a light word for what we're about to talk about, earlier in the month, was she was striking really small reaction channels talking about her and like copyright striking them, which is like a very big deal. Okay. There's copyright claiming, which is just more annoying than anything else. But like, especially if you know that you're within copyright and you're fine, you're not violating anything. Like claiming is just more annoying than anything, but strikes are very serious because if you get 3 of those on your channel, you will lose your channel. So I think a lot, if not all of these channels that she was striking had like under 10,000 subscribers. So like relatively small channels, right? I went and looked at some of their content and all of them seemed like very typical reaction videos, like well within their rights to use her content to start talking about it. So I think she was just pulling like the classic like Amberlynn Reid move or whatever and striking channels that she just didn't like what they had to say about her. So that kind of started everything, was her striking these channels. It got more people talking about her again, both on YouTube and on places like Reddit. I do know that a lot of bigger channels were talking about her doing this because it was so clear that she was using the smallness of these channels to try and like hide that she was doing this. So I know like Obese to Beast made a video, I'm making a video now. And yeah, so a lot of other like bigger creators were making videos about this during this time. Because more people were talking about her, a topic that I covered in my history lesson very lightly, because I didn't really know how to approach it, came back up. And that has to do with her dad. And this has been a topic of conversation surrounding Alex for quite a few years now. And all of it is public information. Like the internet found it, but it is public information. Like it didn't require any like doxing or anything like that to find. The internet had found out a few years or however long ago that Alex's dad was in prison / like had been in prison for the multiple essays or grapes, which I hate having to censor that. Okay, I hate it, but it's just YouTube. I'm sorry. He was in prison for that of her child stepsister, which that in and of itself, the internet did not blame Alex for, obviously, because like that wasn't her decision. But it also came out that Alex had written 2 letters at different times to a judge asking for his release. The first one was written when she was 19 in 2012, and the second one was written in 2023 when I think she would have been like 29 or 30. Like I said, I didn't cover this a lot in my history lesson video because I just didn't know how I should. And I know that might be kind of a weak excuse. For me, she hadn't directly talked about it yet, and I also quite frankly didn't dig enough into it to find out just how public like all of this was, and that it didn't require the internet like going and like digging, like it was just there. While I like did not agree with anything that she said in those letters because it completely discounted what her father did to her stepsister, I'd only seen the one that she wrote when she was 19. And I didn't know how recently the second one was written. So at that time I could see like at the age of 19, you're an adult, but you're still a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I could understand that it would have been difficult for children of offenders to like kind of wrap their heads around what their parents did, especially at the age of 19. And so that was, I don't know. I just didn't know how I wanted to cover it. Yeah, like quite frankly, I did not look into this the amount that I should have when I made my history lesson on her, and that is my bad, and I take full responsibility for that. I was already kind of like sus about it and like her actions surrounding it, but then I found out that she had invited him to her wedding in 2021, I believe. There were children in attendance at that wedding. And I was like, oh, okay. Then when I found out she had written a second letter in, I think, 2023, asking for his release. And like I said, she would have been around like 29 or 30 when she wrote that letter. I just didn't get it, dude. I can understand this kind of thing being hard to navigate when your dad has not been in your life and he comes to you while he's in prison when you're like 19, right? There comes a time where, like, in my opinion, you need to look at things critically and not be an apologist for your father essaying a child, especially as an adult who is getting married and was going into that marriage knowing they wanted to have children. You know what I mean? Internet sleuths also found around this time of her copywriting channels, I believe it might have been before, but it came up again when she started copywriting the channels, that she routinely has been going to Florida every year, and they found that the hotels she stays at and posts about staying at are within minutes of where her dad lives now, as per the registry. After the drama of the copyright strikes, the comments on her videos that had already been there, to be honest, about this, started to increase, and people were like, what about your dad? What about the letters you wrote about your dad trying to get him out of jail? Those ramped up a lot. And at this time, she came out with a video that was 4 minutes and 44 seconds long called The Truth About My Father. In this video, she begins talking about it, how her father left when she was very young, and how she was left with, quote, deep emotional scars from the lack of her father in her life. But this next part is where she lost me in any of this explanation. She said when she was a young teenager, she had found out that her father was arrested and sentenced to 8 years in prison for, quote, having sex with a 15-year-old. And like I said, I think this is probably the most egregious part of this entire video, seeing as that is not what an adult does to a minor. Okay, that's like not how that happens. You do not have sex with a minor when you are an adult. That's not how that works. And saying that it was just a 15-year-old and not the daughter that he and his then wife chose to adopt, and also would then be her stepsister, was abhorrent to me to leave that out, because she knows, everybody knows. She said this was hard to process and was very traumatic for her. And the thing about this whole video that I can just like say is the main problem is that she in no way acknowledges or apologizes to the victim. She only apologizes to her audience for if she let them down. She says when her father regained contact with her from prison, she was manipulated by her father to believe that he was on medication that caused him to, quote, not know what he was doing. And she said that as a teenager who had always longed for a relationship with her father, she was very quick to believe him, and that it clouded her judgment. And like I said, I was kind of willing to give her a little bit more grace, for better or for worse, for the actions that she took around this when she was 19. But considering that those actions continued into her late 20s, if not early 30s, that's where I draw the line. She admits that her decision to write letters to a judge, which she only really acknowledges one letter in this one, and I think it was the one in 2023. She doesn't talk about the one when she was younger. She said that as a teenager, she admits that her deciding to write that was wrong, but she doesn't, throughout this whole video, she never takes full ownership for those decisions. I think this is one of those instances where she should have just been like, hey, I did this. Maybe even throw in the fact that, like, There were a lot of reasons why. But like at the end of the day, I fucked up and that's that. Like, I'm sorry, kind of a thing, you know? But she never takes full ownership or responsibility as to why she did these things. She does make an effort to say that she does not condone at all what he did and that what he did was wrong. And that if she could go back and change what she did, she would. But I just think to a lot of people, this video was overall a flop. As an apology, and a slap in the face to not only her father's victim, but also any other victims / survivors of childhood SA or just SA in general who may watch her, you know. Hi, editing Megan here, and I just want to say, like, just to make it so 100% clear, okay, I do not agree at all with, obviously what Alex's dad did by any means, that he should be hung by his toenails. Secondly, I do not condone at any age what Alex did to try and get her dad released from prison. Okay, I do not condone that. I do not agree with it. When I say I would give her grace when she was 19, it's just because I can kind of see how at the age of 19, yes, you should know, obviously, that what her dad did was wrong, 100%. And you should also be able to deduce that there's really no medication that would make it so you didn't know what you were doing in an instance like that. But seeing as her dad had not been in her life and that I could understand that hole that it would leave in her life, how she always wanted a relationship with him, I could understand that even though she was 19 and she should have known all of those things, and she probably did to a certain extent, I can understand that she was also more easily manipulated by her dad because she had wanted him in her life for so long. That's where I'm coming from, saying that, like, I could give her a little, like a sliver of grace with the one when she was 19. But do I think any of what she did in this at any age was okay? No. Okay. And I've also never been in a situation like this, but like, at any age, these actions were not okay and very much come off as she is being an apologist for her, SA, rapist of a father, which is not okay at all. Just in case I did not make that clear enough. That I just wanted to put this in here. But that's just a better explanation of why I could kind of give her grace when she was 19. But any of the shit when she was older, because I'm that age now, absolutely not. No, not okay. Especially having him at her wedding where there were children there. So as far as I understand. Yeah, not cool at all. Don't support how she chose to move forward with the information when she found it out. And yeah, so I just wanted to put this in here just in case it was not abundantly clear. I am not an apologist for any of this. No. Yeah, this is all gross. Okay, bye. And I think a lot of people, myself included, felt that this was a very strategic video to post around the time that she was getting heat from a lot of people for doing the false copyright striking of the smaller channels. This has always been a topic of conversation surrounding Alex online, especially on Reddit and like the farms and stuff. She never talked about it. And so it was kind of like, why now? And so it just seemed like so clear to me that she posted this at that time to try and deflect from the heat that she was catching from false copyright striking channels. And I feel like it was kind of to make herself out to be a victim as well surrounding this. I think the Truth About My Father video really just added more fuel to the fire of the criticism that the internet had been lending to Alex about this, especially just because it was just such a flop of an apology. And more importantly, I think to a lot of people, it was just a slap in the face, so insulting to the victim, who is her stepsister. And thankfully, going to look at the comments on this video, a lot of people share that same sentiment. A lot of the comments on that video are very critical. I think for a while she was deleting some, but like now the top comments are like flaming her for this whole decision and how she chose to talk about this. So that video came out 3 weeks ago. She posted a video around like a week ago called Life Updates. And I just need to say the contrast between the two thumbnails of these videos is like too much for me to handle almost. Also, there is a lot of speculation that the reason there was such a big time gap in between the video about her dad and this Life Updates video is because YouTube put her in timeout for false copyright striking channels, which that timeout is 2 weeks, and people on Reddit and stuff have aligned the timelines and said, if she's on timeout, her next video will probably be posted on this day. And sure enough, it was posted on that day. I am inclined to believe that's what happened. But yeah, this video, the Life Updates video, is clearly her trying to come back to YouTube after the copyright striking and after the video about her dad, trying to like reconnect with her audience and like rebuild the parasocial relationship with her audience that this whole situation kind of broke for a lot of people. And she opens up saying that she had had a lot of like dark thoughts and dark times after posting the video about her dad, which that including that just felt manipulative to me, to her audience. And she also says she, quote, wasn't sure if she was gonna come back after that video about her dad, which also feels manipulative. And also like something she maybe probably actually didn't even consider. That's just my speculation. Because like, what would she do otherwise? Like, this is her job. This has been her job for such a long time that I feel like it would have been a much bigger decision than just like not coming back. You know what I mean? But the rest of this video, after the introduction of her trying to manipulate her audience by saying she had dark thoughts and dark times and whatever, was just a vlog. And she has gone on to just post business as usual with her vlogs. That's all I have to update on Alex. But seeing as I didn't get a chance to talk about this when it was all happening, but I wanted to, that's why I'm making this video now. It's overall just a very slimy and disappointing update on her. I think how she handled any of this was extremely disappointing, but not that I really held her to that high of a regard anymore anyway, but it was disappointing. I know this is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, myself included, but let me know what you think down below in the comments. And yeah, thank you to you for continuing to be here. I really appreciate you. And yeah, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds, and I will see you in the next one. Okay.